Welcome to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be having a look at Polkadot. This is going to be a higher time frame video, so make sure that you check out the lower time frame video up above here if that is more what you're interested in. Let's get into the price action and see what's going on. Okay, so we've got price history here from August 2020, and now what we need to be aware of is that we can potentially look at this move as trending to the upside, which is the way I'm primarily looking at it, but we can't actually write off the idea that this move could actually start to break down and actually end up taking these lows. So we need to just be aware of that fact that this $2 area, if we do look to break down, could actually be challenged. So we need to be careful of that idea that this whole move up here is just a correction, and then we could actually still see a break to the downside. Those are my primary expectation. So the way that I'm looking at this at the moment is looking at this as an A wave to the upside, looking for this to be a B wave, and then looking for the C wave to the upside. So the B wave target we would be looking for here, which we've already come into, is anywhere between this 1045 to this lower range here of this 322. Now the key thing here is I don't really want to see us lose this 404. If we do, it's fine if we see a small wick through this zone and potentially look to get back above it, but we don't want to see price action starting to consolidate below this level. Otherwise it becomes more likely we're going to actually end up losing these lows. So that would be our B wave that we're looking for in the bigger picture. So there is potential we could look to actually turn around from this point, and what we'd be looking for is a 1-to-1 up towards a 66.59. Now there are extensions up here, which could be this 1236 towards this 135, this 1382 towards this 211, and then this 1.618 up here towards this 430 level. Now if we are talking about this B wave, there's a couple of ways we can look at this. Now if we want to argue that this is completed, we would have to argue there's a WXYZ. Now we're going to go over a couple of ways that this B wave could be playing out, or at least this price action to the downside, and what this could actually mean. So if I just turn this on, what we could argue is that we actually have a 5-wave move here, where we have this as a 1-2, another 1-2, 3, 4, 5 here, and then we're actually looking for another 4th and a 5th. So the 4th wave rejection area would be anywhere between this 1095 to this 662. Now invalidation of this would only come by pushing up towards this 2440. Now obviously if this 4th wave starts to get too big, then we would actually just invalidate itself by the size of the structure. Now what I'm looking for here is that potentially we could argue that within this count we have this move as completed here into this high, and then we could be looking for this 5th wave to the downside. Now if we are looking at this, there's a couple of ways this could be looking to play out. Now if we are looking at a completed 4th wave, what I would be looking for here is that either we are forming this as a bigger 1-2 here, and then we're going to be looking for a breakdown towards this $3.56. So this would be treating this move as a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. So I'm not going to go too much into the internals here, but effectively what we'd be looking for is a series of 1s and 2s here, looking for the price action to break down here. So we will cover this a bit more in the lower time frame video, so make sure you check that out. The other way that we could see this play out, so this would actually look to drop us down here towards this 334 to this $3.03. Now if I overlay this count again, what we could see here is this would actually bring us right into that target area for this fifth wave. So we need to just keep an eye on the way that it's developing. The other way that we could see this play out is that this move to the downside here could actually be a diagonal pattern, in which case what we'd be looking for here is the potential that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In which case we'd be looking for a 3-wave move to the upside to unfold after this completes, after one more push to the downside here. Now if this is the case, what we'd be looking for is this 717 to this 631 as a potential rejection zone. This 0.618 would be an interesting area here towards this $6.65. As well as that, we do have some of these other areas which higher up here would have a 786 at this $7.17. Now if we're looking at this count, invalidation would come by crossing this $7.90, and what we want to see is price action reject below the 786 ideally. If we start to consolidate above this, once again it becomes likely we're going to see price action continue to the upside. Now the key difference here is that we'd be treating this as a wave 1, 2, looking for a 3rd towards the zone of this $3.22, then looking for a 4th and a 5th, which would look to push us down into this $3.02 to this $2.72. Now this would be looking at that possibility the 4th wave is already completed. If this 4th wave is not completed, what we could actually argue is that from further back here we have a triangle, in which case this would be A, B, C, D, and E, in which case we would be starting to look for that 5th wave to develop from this point. Now once again that same idea would be in play here. We'd be looking at this potentially as a 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, and then we'd need to see a bigger push to the downside to confirm this with the price action. Looking at the current levels that we have here, what I'd want to see is a push down towards this zone of this $4.04 for a confirmation of this, and this would actually make us lose this low and get rid of that bullish count that we'll be talking about later. The alternative is that we could actually see this play out as ABC for wave 4 as well, which could look to push us up towards this $8.70. Now if this is the case, we'd be looking to maintain this zone of this $4.72 before looking for this push to the upside. So this and the triangle both fall into applying to the other count as well. They can apply for both of these counts. So we could see this move of this $8.70 as a 1-to-1. Now obviously we do have this high here, which would be sitting towards this $7.92. If we do start to see price action move up here, I would be looking at this high as a potential zone we could reject off of as well as a double top here. So I would be keeping an eye on that if we do look to push up here. Now coming back out here, what we could argue is that this move is not a 5-wave move, and that we could argue that this has just been a 3-wave move into this point. Now if we are looking at it in that way, what we could actually then say is that this whole move to the downside has been a W wave over here, where this is W, then we're looking for an X wave, and then we'll be looking for the potential of a Y wave to the downside. Now the key difference here is that if we're looking at this as W, X, and a Y, we do have this rejection zone here of this $10.12 to this $34.27. Now this is a typical zone we could look for a retracement into. If this is going to be more complex, it could actually even fall as short as this $10.12, will not even reach there. Looking at this current structure, if we are arguing that this is actually playing out where this is ABC for A, this is B for a B wave, and we're looking for a C wave, rather our target would actually be here anywhere between this 1-to-1, which would be here at this $6.89, to this 1618, which would be towards this $8.17. Now this would actually be coming back into these highs here, so this would be quite an interesting area to actually keep an eye on if this is actually going to form a triple top and then look to break down from here. So this would be looking for that possibility of a push to the downside. Now if we had to push up towards that 1.618, what we could then see is the potential to actually see a move down here towards this zone of this 0.618 as a minimum, which would be here this 264, and then this 1-to-1 area here would be this 109. Now there is an 854 here at this $1.53, and the 0786 at this $1.79 as well. That would be worth keeping an eye on here. Now we can argue the same things within this X wave here, that we could actually see this play out as either a triangle here where this is A, B, C, D, E, and then we look to break down. Now if this is the case, we'd be looking for the same thing here, except we'd be looking for a 3-wave move off the back of this triangle. And what this would then mean is that effectively that X wave has completed over here. Now if we are looking at this as a triangle, then we'd be looking for price action to break down either in a 5-wave move for our 5-wave structure, or in a bigger 3-wave move looking for this 0.618 if it is in this WXY. Now we could also argue that within this, as the X wave, we could see this play out as A, B, and C, in which case what we would then have to argue is that this is still part of the X wave here. So we need to just be aware that even if we do move up to this $8.70, this could still tie into that idea of having this as a corrective structure here, where this is WXY. So need to keep an eye on that. If we do see this play out as an ABC here, this could actually just mean that our X wave is still in play. Now there is one other way we can look at this move, and that would be treating this as a WXYX, and then we're looking for a Z wave to the downside. Now this Z wave to the downside, the 1-to-1 of the Y wave would actually be indicating a move down here towards this $2.46. Now what we could then see here, if this is the case and we want to treat this as just a wave to the downside, this is a B to the upside, and then the C wave down, we could actually see this play out where this move here has become A, B, and C, and we look for this $3.46 as a 1-to-1. However, we need to just be aware that because we have a 3-wave move here that actually came down to this 0.618, what we could see is actually a reversal to the upside. So that would be the bullish case, is that we've actually already completed this Z wave over here, and we're starting to see a push to the upside from this point. Now this would be interesting because this could actually mean that we have a complete correction here and we would be looking to break away, though we would still need to be cautious that even if we do have this as a WXYXZ into this point here, we need to just be careful of that potential rejection zone here of this 34.27 to this $10.12 as a possible area. We could see price action move up into in a three-wave structure, something like this, and then actually still look to break down. So we'll have to keep an eye on this. If we do start to move to the upside, this is going to be an interesting zone that we could actually get a rejection off of. Now, if this Z wave is not completed, however, we could argue two things. So we could argue that this is A, this is B, and then we see the C wave. Once again, that same idea still can fit in here, where we look at this as A, B, C, and we fail to actually break this X wave high here of this $9.68. If we remain above that, even if we do get another push to the upside as A, B, and C, then we could actually still look for rejection within this red box area here. $8.10 would be a 0.786. So I'd be keeping an eye on this if we do look to move to the upside. As well as that, we do have this channel top up here, so it would be interesting to see if we get an interaction with that before actually looking to break down one more time. So we'd be looking for that as a either starting down here already for this as a C wave, but the problem is we don't have good structure here. So this could tie into that idea of looking at this whole move as a diagonal 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, something like this, or alternatively this could just become a bigger W, X, and a Y and break down in three waves, where we get three-wave structure to the downside rather. Now, if we do look to push up, like I said, that wouldn't invalidate this idea of this B wave still being in play, and we could still see this C wave come down just at a later point. Now, another way we could look at this, because if this is a Z wave, what we could argue is that actually our X wave completed further back here, and we're looking to form a triangle here. Now this triangle would be slightly different because this would be a Z wave triangle. So this would be a completing move of this sequence. So what this would mean is that after this E wave plays out, price action would actually look to break to the upside. Now the key thing here is what I'm looking for is that we could also potentially count this move here as a 5-wave move up here for this B wave. So this could actually be A, B, and C, in which case we could see this B actually be higher up here towards this 920. Invalidation of this as a triangle would come by either breaking above this area here of this 968 or breaking this low here, 422. Now, if we do see this play out as I've got it illustrated here, what we could see is that price action actually looks like it needs a little bit lower to come down here. So I'd be looking at this as an A, B, and a C for this as a double zigzag here. Or alternatively, if this is 1, 2, we could have this as 3, 4, and 5, as long as we don't overlap this point here of this $5.60. So if we do break down one more time here, I would be keeping an eye on this $5 area. That would be quite an interesting zone. This would also bring us back into this zone of support that we have here. So that would be looking to actually target out this 0.786 here. Now, if we did hit that 786 at that $5 area, big psychological area, what we could then see is the potential that we see a 3-wave move back to the upside for this D wave. Now, if I zoom out a little bit here, I've just connected these two peaks here. We can see that this golden pocket actually sits right on this line. So I would be very interested to see if we do get a 3-wave move up here. 3-wave move up into this zone would then give me the potential for looking for this E wave. Triangles are only confirmed by this D wave, so until this comes in, this is just hypothetical, but this is something I'm just keeping an eye on here. If we do see an additional push down here, that could be enough for this to be an A, B, and a C, in which case we've completed here, and then we could actually see this move to the upside for this 3-wave move before looking for this move here. Now the key thing is here is if this is a triangle in this way, what we'll be looking for is support to be found once again down here. If the triangle is in the other way, we would be looking for this as an E wave effectively. If we are looking at it the other way around here, and what we'd then be looking for is a breakdown past this A wave low here. So that's going to be the key difference. If we come up into this D wave area and then we get another 3-wave move down and then look to actually reverse to the upside, then this would actually confirm the idea that this move here has been a triangle in the Z wave, in which case this would mean this was the end of a bigger correction and we would see a much bigger push to the upside. So the other way we could also argue about this is that we could have completed into this low. Now, if we have completed into this low, we could argue a much more bullish case here where we have something like this as a wave 1. This is a WXY for wave 2. Now, the key zone here to hold is this $4.22 as the beginning of the wave 1. Now, as well as that, this 786 is an important level, which is sitting here towards the zone of this $4.83. Failure to break through this zone could mean that we see price break to the upside. If we start to break down below this and start to consolidate below this level, then that more bearish scenario comes into play here. So we're going to have to keep an eye on this. Technically speaking, as long as this support zone here holds between this $5.77 and this $4.83, we can look for the potential of pushing to the upside. Now, confirmation as an impulse would actually only come by pushing up towards this 11.16, in which case what we'd then be looking for is an additional fourth and a fifth, which would be looking for this target of this 13.45 to this 11.99. Now, the key thing here is that if we do get a 5-wave move to the upside like this, we need a 3-wave move to come back down and hold support above these lows. Now, an interesting area to me actually to come back in as a retest would be somewhere in this zone here, which would be sort of between this 7.64 all the way down towards this $6.80, and possibly even into this channel line again, if we do look at this as potentially a back test of a breakout. So that would be something I'm looking out for in this bullish standpoint, but we don't have confirmation of this yet, and the structure at the moment is not looking impulsive to the upside, so we need to just be aware of that. Okay, so looking at this entire area here as a range, what we can see is that we are currently sitting below that point of control. We are sitting on quite a high volume node here towards the zone of this 533. If we start to lose this level though, however, we can see that we do have a little bit of a deficit in the volume below us here. So if we do start to lose this, it is possible we could see price action fall through to this next zone here towards this $4.45 area. Now, this would tie into that idea of coming down one more time here before looking to push to the upside. However, if we start to lose this and it starts to become a bigger move to the downside, I'd be keeping an eye on this value area low, just sitting towards this $3.58 level. Now, if we're looking for that bullish aspect here, where we could be looking for this price action to move to the upside, I want to see a break back above this point of control and starting to hold it as support before looking for that continuation up. Now, if this had to become a bigger move where we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3-wave move down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, what I'd be paying attention to is this high area here. So we do have this value area high, which is sitting up here towards this 26.16, which would be an interesting area to keep an eye on. Now, because we're talking about that higher range here, we do have this upper range here that we could also potentially look to find resistance on towards the move to the upside. So we have this $17.11 as this value area low. We have this value area high here of this 28.06, and this point of control at this 28.06, and this value area high sitting here towards this zone of this 39.19. So if we do move up into this area, this could be a potential rejection. Now, the difference here is we can see here that volume is quite high all the way through this, so this point of control is not as important in this instance because there's only a small volume spike there. If anything, there's actually more volume down here towards the zone of this 1858, so we'll be keeping an eye on these levels if we do move back up into this zone. Looking at the Ichimoku cloud here on the weekly, what we can see is that we're actually currently still sitting below the conversion line, which is sitting here towards this 641. So if we do see a move up there, I would be potentially looking at a possible rejection, particularly if we come into the top of this channel again. That could actually tie in with this. Now, if we did start to see price action move up higher here, we were looking at this potentially as a bigger A, B, and a C, or alternatively a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What we could actually see is price action move into this or into this baseline, which is sitting here towards this 1192. So I would be keeping an eye on this cloud. If we do start to push to the upside here, potentially we could find a rejection on the lower edge of this. Now, if I look at the daily cloud, what we can see here is it is starting to build up above us. We can see that it's currently sitting over here towards this zone of this $5.83. Now, if we did have to look for a potential push back up here, I'd be keeping an eye on this cloud as a potential rejection, particularly this area here, aligning with these swing highs towards this 586 region. If we did see price action move up here, this could be a potential rejection area if we are going to look to actually continue to the downside. As well as that, if we did have to move up higher here, where we see a bigger push to the upside, potentially into this channel, what we could see is price action even potentially come up and retest this higher range here of the $6.51, in which case that would be a retest of the top of this channel, of the top of this cloud rather, and then we could look for rejection. So we need to just be cautious. Once this cloud starts to build up like this, we do have potential to face rejection off of this and then actually look to continue to sell off. So keep an eye on this. As well as that, we do have the baseline, which is currently sitting up here towards us $6.06. So this would tie into actually coming back into these highs here as well. So be quite an interesting level to keep an eye on. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video. Leave us some feedback down below, and also in the description you'll find a link to the Discord. Come check it out, it's free to join. Everyone have a great day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.